Hello students, and welcome to the video about your final portfolio. Congratulations on coming to the very end of English 219. Your final portfolio is your website, your Google site or your Weebly or whatever kind of web utility you've been using to share your work with me. So your final portfolio must include the following items: your bio and personal statement on the landing page, your resume included in a sidebar item or as a link on the landing page, all three major projects on their own pages, all project reflection documents for each project, your revised SLO reflections for all of the SLOs, those are student learning outcomes, in their designated SLO sidebar areas, and effective design and mechanics used throughout the site. In this video, I'm going to go through each of these items, and then at the end, I'm going to give you some examples of student portfolios. So the first item is the bio-personal statement. You will be working on this at the end of the semester. As you can see on this slide, I have page 133 from your textbook, and it talks about this microgenre of the bio and personal statement, and it has an example from an actual website, from an architect's website. So this is a genre that occurs in the real world, often in a web context, where people talk about themselves, perhaps on an about page. There's some strategies about writing this that are listed on that page. The other item you worked on at the end of the class was your resume. Of course, this is a genre that is very ubiquitous in technical and professional communication or in workplace writing. This is a document that you need to prepare before you can enter the workforce. So you worked on this at the end of the semester also. The example that I'm showing you on the screen is from chapter 5. This is actually from page 103, and this is a chronological resume. This is the style that I recommend that you all use because most of you will be currently receiving your education and you won't have as much applicable work experience. So this version foregrounds the educational experience and puts the work experience second. I would also note that you can add an additional section under educational background that includes a section for related coursework, where you list the classes that you've taken that are suited to the job that you are pursuing. I've noted here that embedding a PDF is best, or including a link on the page. I do recommend that you save your resume as a PDF, whichever way you share it on the website. Next, we have projects 1, 2, and 3 and the associated project reflections. Be sure that all of these projects are included in the designated areas on the left of your web page for projects 1, 2, and 3. And each of those projects had their own reflections. Now, these were about the choices that you made, the decisions that you made, how it turned out. In the prompt for each of the assignments, I gave you particular aspects that you needed to discuss in the project reflection. Next, on your website, you need to have items for all of the student learning outcomes. You've written about these in the discussion board, and you were then supposed to include them in your website as well. Now that the semester is coming to a close, I want you to go through all 9 of those SLO reflection paragraphs that you've written and revise them. Revise them grammatically and revise them conceptually. Make sure that what you're saying there about how you learned the outcomes in the class truly do reflect your learning at the end of the term time. So I am including on the screen here, as you're reading through the content, as you pause this video, please read through the SLO titles below and be sure that you've addressed all of them. Now finally, I will be assessing your portfolio in regard to its design and mechanics. So it's best if you massage or adapt the template for the site that you used to make sure that color contrast and color usage and text, size, typeface, spacing, alignment, use of images, all of that is done in a harmonious and effective and user-oriented way. As I say here, you want to be sure that those design aspects enhance your readers' or viewers' experience of your portfolio. It should be designed in a way that makes me or anybody else want to read it. Also, you need to make sure that your grammar, punctuation, spelling, all of those things are correct in all of the text that I encounter anywhere on your website, whether that's in an assignment or in the reflections or in any other wording, headings, etc. that I find on the page. So now I'm going to show you a few examples of websites of 219 students. I've anonymized all of these so they don't have names on them. This is a landing page of the Google site, and as you can see, it's got some placeholder content which says delete this instructional text. This is on the landing page. This is where you would put your bio or personal statement. Once you've revised it, you can just include it right there on the home page. You'll see that there's a subpage 1 listed that says reflective memo. On this home page, you'll want to have your bio statement and any other images you want to include there to spice up the page. And then your resume should be included on this page also. Now you see that on the sidebar, all 9 of our SLOs are listed here under navigation, as are the projects, the numbers. They're listed there as well. Now on this student's page for project planning, you can see that I have that page open here, project planning. But this is a really good job on a reflection concerning this SLO. It's probably hard for you to read in the video, but the student talks about the textbook and talks about specifically how the student used this concept when working on the second project. Now, when it comes time to revise this for the final submission, the student could talk about project planning as it applied to all of the projects. Here's another student's example, again with the student's name taken off. This is basically the same template, but the color is different. This is very simple. Again, the student would replace this placeholder content with the bio and would include as a subpage the resume, or would embed the resume. So this is, I'm just showing you this. It's the same template as the previous one, but just different color usage. There's a lot of things you can do to adjust these Google sites. You might want to watch a YouTube video or two to see how you can personalize the Google template to make it more visually interesting. Again, though, this one is clean and correct. It's not the most visually interesting thing in the world, but it is clean and correct. Now we have this student. You can see the written communication SLO is considered here. You can see that I have it clicked open from the left-hand sidebar, but this student didn't embed the reflection itself on the page as HTML, but included it as a downloadable docx file. That is fine. I'm glad that the reflection is included, the SLO reflection, but it is not as ideal as if it was included as HTML on the page. So you're going to need to have the SLO reflections for each of the 9 SLOs listed in the sidebar, as well as project reflections included on the same page as the project. If we were to click on project 1, the student's project 1 video would be there, as well as a document linked, as is shown here on the SLO reflection, where I would get the project reflection. Before closing out this video, I would like to show Catarina Hernandez's adaptation of the Google site, and she gave me permission to share this. So you can see her template. She enlivened it up. And I also want to point out that you see 2 links at the bottom of her bio statement, one for her reflection memo and one for her resume. Please note the reflection memo is crucial here, and I'm going to show it to you next. What you can see in Catarina's final reflection, which I'm showing here on the screen, is that she has what looks very much like a memo. It's using the memo format excellently. She's got a header, she's got an opening paragraph, and then she has reflection paragraphs for all 3 of the major projects. Projects 1, Project 2, and Project 3. In those, she talks about the student learning outcomes, particularly SLOs 2 and 9. I want you to remind yourself from the prompt for the assignment that you have to emphasize your learning with examples of SLOs 2 and 9 and as many others as you want to mention, particularly through the lens of the assignments. I think that her reflection looks really solid. It synthesizes concepts and learned skills from the class, and she includes it in a really easy to access way on the reflection linked page on her site. And you can also see that she includes it as a downloadable document at the bottom. So as I close out this video, having shown you examples from 3 students' portfolios, as well as some leading in material about everything that you need to include in the portfolio, I hope that I've answered a lot of your questions. I know that I talked about one really important part, the final reflection memo, rather quickly at the end. That is because I'm going to include a separate video about that part alone. So until then, I wish you good luck working on your portfolio, and please email me with any questions you might have.